Derrick Lewis.
Names are hard.
Words are hard. Derrick Lewis takes out
Speaking's hard.
Browne in brutal fashion, then jumps up on the mic, cuts a promo like a cage fighter should, still buries Browne, says, hey, I didn't like this guy. He put hands on women. And then he calls out, he says, where Ronda Rousey fine ass at?
Now, why is that such a great line? A lot of people love that. Why is that so great?
You just beat up her man. That means to the conquer goes the spoils. You just beat. That was the greatest line of all time.
In fairness, though, isn't it owed to Travis Browne that there was a full investigation and he was completely cleared? I mean, calling a guy a woman beater is a pretty tough thing, particularly when the investigation says he didn't do it. In fairness, and you don't need to weigh in on that, but in fairness, that's relevant. We need to throw that out there. So, listen, we got a live show at the Stratosphere this Sunday, the 26th. Doors open at 9:30. We're going to hit the stage at 10 o'clock. We're teaming up with Richard, with Frank Mir, guys from Phone Booth Fighting. Yeah, they got a podcast. We're going to go out there and tell some stories. It's going to be interactive. We're going to talk with the audience. Whether this is going to be funny or interesting or what direction it goes, who knows. But that is going down this Sunday at the Stratosphere in Las Vegas. Tickets on sale now. The show is called Suspended. Make sure you're there. But, I know why I brought that up. I didn't bring it up just to plug the show. I brought it up because Richard really wanted to shave your head on stage, but it looks like you protected your hair.
Thank God.
Hey, tell me this. Tell me this on the fights. I missed them. I read all about the Browne. I read a little bit about Johnny Hendricks and Hector Lombard. I know the outcome, but how did that go? Did you get to watch the contest?
I did. I watched the Johnny Hendricks Hector Lombard fight. It was fantastic. Johnny looked great. He had a full head of steam all throughout the fight. It was, I'm a Johnny guy. I've had his back through his losing streak. I've been rooting for him. And he was just, the relief. The relief you have after a fight's one thing. The relief you have after a victory is another one. He won the fight. He looked great. He was happy to be at 185 pounds, and he was a plus 118, and I won money on it.
You had Hendricks the whole time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what I thought. Hendricks is really, really good. Even though he's been on a bit of a skid and he had the weight issues, he's a big problem for anybody. And what I want when Hector goes out and fights, I just want Hector to perform. I've always been on the Hector bandwagon, even early on when people were mad at him and he'd won all those fights in Bellator and came to the UFC in a big contract and people were jealous about it. I've always been on board. That's a lifelong competitor. That's an Olympian in judo for Cuba. I mean, that's a tough guy, but I do feel sometimes he empties his gas tank so early, goes on a sprint. But when he does take into consideration, hey, this is a marathon and I could be out here the whole time, when he fights with that in mind, he fights really, really well.
And he did. That was his pace. He fought a good controlled pace. He didn't run out of steam. He had a great performance. I think one of the things that happened with Hector is he fell into the trap, a lot of them do, is he got beat at 185 and he thought the solution was to go to 170. So then look how big he is at 185. So somehow he makes 170 a couple times, maybe 3 times, decides this is too much weight. Now I'm going back to 185. If he didn't lose something in that weight cut, you're crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, the one thing that he has is he has height issues. He's a shorter guy. What's he stand about? 5'9" to 5'10", 5'9", 5'9 and a half. He could be as low as 5'8 and a half. I mean, he's just not a very tall guy, and height matters a little bit more than weight in fighting. So I liked him at 170 for those reasons, but I hear everything you're saying. And at 185, that's when he went on his run through Bellator, beat 22 guys straight. Might have been 23 guys straight. I want him to stay there. And I really don't even know what his record is. He is one of those guys that he goes out and he delivers, and sometimes it does not go his way. Sometimes in spectacular fashion it goes against him, but he brings it. He comes out and he gets it on. And I'm always tuning in for Hector.
One of our favorite gals, Sarah McMahon, had a great performance, and now she's on a bit of a roll. And she's starting to say, hey, I want a title shot. And what's so great about that is she had a rough time when she got in. We just thought Sarah McMahon, she's an Olympian, she's gonna run through this division, and she got bumped up quite a few times. So it's good to see her on a bit of a tear.
Who'd she fight?
She fought Gina Mazzani.
Okay, and Sarah won. Good for Sarah. You know, if there's ever been a career that was mismanaged, it was Sarah McMahon's. The things I would have done differently with her if I was steering the ship, and I did think she was probably going to get lost to the shuffle, and I still do. I don't think she's going to get back there. She does a lot of things wrong where I don't feel she studies the sport. But as far as the talent goes, hey man, you know how much I've been on the Sarah McMahon bandwagon from Jump Street. From the very beginning. I thought she was going to be the one that was going to beat Ronda. So I'm happy to hear that she won. I didn't get to see any of these fights. Thanks for filling. All right, Joel, before we go, I do want to ask you this. So you got your fight coming with Wes Sims. You're working hard. It was supposed to be in the summertime. Now it's moved to May 13th, so you've got less time. You're using the Ultimate Weight Cut. Okay, I told you about it. I told all the fans about it. If anybody's interested, go to ultimateweightcut.com. But it's very comprehensive, step-by-step guide to cutting weight, sample menu, diet plans. This is used by elite athletes. There's a rehydration plan. You can calculate target weight zones. Go to ultimateweightcut.com. How's things going, Joel?
Well, I mean, diet-wise, good. I'm down 8 pounds, so I'm down to 262. A lot of people want to hear about Old Team Cut.
You're down 8 pounds in 14 days?
Yeah.
You should say it. That's actually really good.
Well, we got a long way to go. So I'm down 8 pounds, and a lot of fans want to hear old Team Quest stories, and I'm going to give them one. Team Quest used to have what's called open roll on Sundays. And open roll on Sundays would be you would come in and you would roll around and do a bunch of submissions. But this particular Sunday, Randy had a fight going on, so he wanted to get some rounds. So it was going to be a stand-up day. Now, I was at the time competitive. Does that mean I was a good fighter? No, I was competitive to compete in the practice room. And we go the first round, and, you know, he near the end of the first round, he drubs me up pretty good. Second round, I go with somebody else. Now, I should be done with Randy. Once you go once, you should be done. He brings me in the third round, kicks the living crap out of me. Fourth round, I go with somebody else. Fifth round, he does the same thing. He beats me to death. We sit down, you know, on the wall afterwards, and I'm like, hey, Randy, what was that all about? And he said, you caught me with a jab in the first round. And I took it. I took that beating. I've kept it with me forever that I got a good jab in. It made him so mad he beat me up for, 15 minutes. So my question to you is, why'd you punch me in the face so many times last night?
Okay, here is one thing about you. And you are the guy that I would speculate in drilling, wrestling terms, people probably didn't want to drill with because you're very rough and you're a big guy that doesn't know his own strength. And you hit hard and you grab hard and you push and pull hard. And I don't think you know that you do it. So I was very disciplined that I'm only going to hit you as hard as you hit me. And I'm only going to hit you as many times if you hit me. If you hit me once, I'm going to hit you once. If you hit me at 50%, I'm going to hit you at 50%. That was the thing that I don't think you're taking into consideration. You were
throwing
getting
punches at your glove.
Yeah, but you were throwing them hard.